What is going on, guys? Today I'm excited to bring you another game, and this was played in last at Chess Open, so we keep going with that tournament. It was round 7, and if you saw last episode, you know that I played against the best player from my district. He was a FIDE master, and normally when you lose a game in a tournament, you end up getting paired down with a weaker opponent, but in this case, I lost and I still got paired up against even a stronger FIDE master. This time it was Bagat Kush, or Kush Bagat. Sorry if I mispronounced that. And he was a kid from India, a 14-year-old, so like, I'm absolutely gonna get wrecked. That's all I would say. No, the game was very exciting. So let's get going. I had the black pieces. My opponent had the white pieces. He started with d4. I went d5 and went bishop f4. So yeah, I mean, I prepared against London. If you wanna annoy me, like if you're watching this video and you're gonna play me in a tournament and you wanna annoy me, you're like thinking, okay, what is like Richardini not wanna play against the London, bro? I don't like playing against the London, even though like you can easily equalize. It's just so annoying. I don't know why. Yeah, I don't like the positions coming out of the main lines of the London system, but it is what it is. I have to deal with it. So I go c5, e3, and in a recent episode, like a tournament ago, I did go for the setup of knight c6, knight f6, queen b6 without blocking this bishop on c8 with e6. But this time, I prepared something more solid, something easier to play in my opinion, which is e6, immediately trying to contest this diagonal here. E6, okay, my opponent goes c3, I go knight f6, knight f3, bishop d6, and now my opponent plays bishop d3. And you might think, what? I mean, why did your opponent play bishop g3? I mean, this is completely fine. You can play bishop g3, but actually this idea with bishop d3 and allowing me to take like this is actually not that bad for white. It's actually good because he gets a strong knight on e5, and even though these pawns are doubled, he can start rolling them down the board pretty easily. Fine, but I prefer to go with the standard castles here. My opponent plays knight bd2, and here I go queen c7. So this is one of the main lines, just really trying to trade these bishops on my terms. Okay, my pawn takes on d6. I take back with the queen. He plays knight e5. I go b6. He goes castles, and I go bishop a6. This is all like theory. And yeah, I had all this kind of prepared, more or less. He plays a little, like, some variants of this, but yeah, this is like super dry, super equal, super boring. But yeah, it is what it is. Just the London system, right? Okay, here he takes on a6. I take with a knight, and here, okay, he surprises me with a4. I didn't know this move. I think I was probably expecting something like f4 here or rook c1 to come, but he goes a4. And yeah, I mean, he's trying to break my queen side structure apart with a5 coming next. And here I took the first big thing of the game because I didn't really know where my knight should go or if it should move at all. Yeah, I was just pondering between knight b8 and knight c7, and I ended up choosing the b8 square. And the reason is that I feel like the knight on c7 would be a little bit awkward because it wouldn't really have, squares to jump to. So at least on b8, okay, I lose time bringing the knight back, but the position is very closed, so you can afford to lose some tempi because you will not be punished for that. It's a rule in chess middle games. So okay, f4 makes sense, and this is like the type of positions that I really hate to play against because like this Pillsbury Knight, I think that's how it's called, with support from these two pawns, this stonewall kind of position with the knight coming on f3 to reinforce this knight. He can start just attacking me on the king side, putting this king to h1, rook g1, queen f3, queen g3. I mean, I hate these positions for black, but I kind of, man, I saw it coming because like in his games he had a lot of these games, but yeah, I it is what it is. I still went for it. Okay, okay, 97 here. I don't know if 97 is better than 96. Maybe 96 is a little bit better because I leave the square for my other knight to go to d7 and to try to push f6 to kick this knight out or to make him like trade for one of my knights, something like that. But okay, I go knight d7, which is a little inaccurate. I feel like maybe not. The computer doesn't mind. And here he plays g4, and I mean, I was pooping my pants at this point because I mean it's just scary. You're just like the computer says it's completely equal, 0 0 0. There's nothing going on, but from a human perspective, if you have never played this type of against this type of attack and structure, you will be scared. And to be honest, besides online games where I end up being crushed by white every time, I didn't really have over the board experience. So I stopped for a long time here trying to calculate what I should do. And yeah, I just was pondering between something like knight e4 or something like knight e8. I don't know. I didn't really like 98. I thought it was a little bit too slow, and I thought that my opponent could, start an attack. But now that I'm looking at it, it's not really clear how is he gonna start an attack. Because if he goes, for example, queen f3 here, probably f6 is good enough, making his knight have to go to d3. And here, I mean, it's still scary, not gonna lie, but um, yeah, I actually don't know what black does here. It's not easy at all. Um, it's tough. It's looking really tough to figure out what I should do in this position. Yeah, the computer says it's equal, but I mean, it just looks scary to me because I only see plans for white. Honestly, I only see like king h1, rook g1, and yeah, it just feels scary. To be fair, this is probably one of those positions where it will be nice to play against the computer with both colors, so I can actually get some experience and learn how to play and ideas to defend and ideas to attack. Because I ended up playing knight e4 after calculating for like 25 minutes, maybe half an hour. It was a long calculation, and 94 is bad move. Actually, it's a move that gives my opponent the advantage. I should have played something like a waiting move. Like the computer likes 98 that I suggested, also likes queen c7. I don't know what queen c7 is doing, honestly. And yeah, this was a mistake. I calculated the following lines. I calculated after knight e4, he would trade on e4. I would take the knight. He would play queen c2, and here I thought, okay, I can take on d4 here. If he takes on e4, I have d takes on c3, and I thought, okay, this is fine. He takes back the pawn, and yeah, the position is looking good. He has all these isolated pawns and weaknesses. So that was the first thing I calculated. C takes on d4, E takes on d4, and f5. This is what I calculated, and I thought, okay, this looks fine. Looks like actually a quite an interesting position. I have this, passed e pawn. The pawns are doubled, but if he takes here, I can take back, and yeah, I have like protect passed pawn, and yeah, it feels like I kind of stopped his attack, and yeah, that was it. But in the game, okay, I took, and when he played queen c2, I realized, oh, fuck. Like, the variation that I calculated actually doesn't work. Like, I actually miscalculated, and I might just be worse here and losing a pawn. Because only when he played queen c2, I realized that after c takes on d4, queen takes on e4, and d takes on c3, here my opponent has rook a1 intermediate move. He doesn't have to capture this pawn. And now I'm losing a piece because, if I move my queen to c7, for example, he takes on d7 and he wins a piece. Brutal. I also thought, okay, maybe I'm smart and I have knight c5, but here, because okay, if he takes on d6, I take on e4, and here I'm completely better. I'm doing really good, really really good. But after knight c5, he can actually take on a8, and that's a brilliant move. Sacrificing the queen, but he just took a rook. He can take also another rook. The queen is hanging still. So, for example, something like queen takes on d1, trying to copy my opponent. He has queen takes on f8 check, and I have to take the queen, and then he takes my queen, and he's just up a rook. And yeah, if I move, let's say after rook a1 here, if I play knight c5, queen takes on a8. If I move my queen out of dodge to, for example, queen e7 here, he can just bring back the queen, so there's nothing going on. Also, if I take the queen, he takes my queen as well, and he's up a rook. So yeah, this didn't work, and so I panicked. I completely panicked, and after queen c2, I thought, okay, the only move I have is f5 here to protect this pawn, because I saw other stuff, like, for example, after c takes on d4 and queen takes on e4 here. Okay, I can't really take the pawns, although actually it's funny because I actually can take here, which I didn't realize in the game, because after rook a1, actually now this is so funny. Now knight c5 actually works, which I didn't see in calculation, but I'm seeing now with the engine, because after queen takes on a8, I have e2, forking these two rooks, and yeah, it doesn't really matter what my opponent does. If he takes, actually, if he takes here, I can just take the queen, and I'm winning. But if he just takes my queen here, I have this capture with check, and I end up, being equal here with equal material, equal position. Okay, I took on d4. He took back with the e pawn, and here I played f5 to protect this pawn here. And yet this just blundered on the spot. G takes on f5, e takes on f5, and I didn't see queen b3 check. Calculated all that time, more than actually combined the first calculation with the second after seeing that I miscalculated. It was approximately, I was calculating for like 40 or 45 minutes, and I still managed to blunder this basic tactic. And after king h8, he just wins an exchange with knight f7 check. I have to capture the knight because my queen is hanging, and yep, he just wins a clean exchange. And yeah, at this point in the game, I was very pissed off. I was very sad because I spent all that time calculating and trying to figure out the best move, and I just blundered something easy, and all of a sudden, I'm just completely lost. Although the computer doesn't think that I'm completely lost, actually thinks that I have quite a lot of counterplay. But okay, from a human perspective, after you just blunder this, you think, okay, you're just gonna lose. you're playing okay against an FM, which is very strong, of course. And yeah, it just was it was very sad because like I prepared, I got uh very far into my preparation, but you know, he just did that stonewall structure thing, and I just completely crumbled under pressure. And yeah, I was very sad, but I said to myself like, okay, I mean, I'm not gonna resign this. It's not every day that I get to play against an FM. I'm at least gonna try to be annoying and keep the game going for as long as I can. So here I played knight f6, you know, blocking the vision of the queen to the pawn on f5. Here my opponent played a5, which is very good move because he just wants to open things up for his rook. If I take here, he just develops his rook, brings another rook. So yeah, he's up material. He just wants to trade down. And here I played rook f8, which is not a great move. My opponent plays queen takes on a7, grabbing the pawn. And here I play uh, actually b takes on a5. My opponent takes with the rook on a5, and after thinking for a while, I play knight g4. And I saw the winning move. My opponent has a move that just wins on the spot, like neutralizes all my counterplay. But, you know, actually, by this point, I didn't know what I'm about to say, but I learned it in recent months after this game. Actually, I want to give a big shout out first to my trainer. Uh, he actually suggested me a book like some months ago called The Complete Chess Swindler, I think, or Chess Swindler, a guide to swindle in chess. And I had no idea about this book, and this book looked a little bit funny to me. The concept of swindling, like what, how to handle like lost positions and turn them around. It's like a little bit weird, you know. But actually, the book is amazing. I really recommend it to any tournament player that wants to improve, like the complete um, chess swindler or the chess swindler. Like I will leave an image of the book right there on the screen for a while. And yeah, this book is just amazing, teaching you how to, you know, be better at calculation, better at tactics, and better at, you know, trying to bring trying to come back in these losing positions and trying to make it as hard as possible for your opponent to win them. And one of the things that he says in the book is that when you're swindling means turning a game around when you're lost. When you're swindling, you don't want to really find the best move, because the best move will most likely lose you the game. Uh, and this sounds weird, but the thing is that you want to find the trickiest moves. You want to, you know, make your opponent slip. You want to make your opponent make a mistake, but without even him noticing it. You want to give him opportunities to go wrong. You don't want to just find the best move. You want to find the trickiest move to deal with. And that makes a lot of sense once you start practicing and understanding and actually reading the examples of the book. But by this point in my chess career, I didn't read the book. I didn't know anything about swindling like that. So I was trying to swindle naturally. Uh, which actually you'll see it worked out pretty well. But here the move that I saw, of course, that kind of neutralized my play and wins the best move for white is queen c5, because you know he's attacking the queen. Of course, I don't want to trade queens, but he's also putting pressure on the rook indirectly. So here I would have to play something like queen f6 to keep an eye on the rook, or queen d8. But this is passive, you know, because this rook is needing protection of the queen, and he can just develop the other rooks, threaten rook a8, and yeah, it's pretty much GG's at this point, honestly, not gonna lie. The computer is already suggesting knight f6. So yeah, it's not that good. But my opponent didn't see um, queen c5, and he quickly played rook a6. Of course, he was like, bro, I already have the game won. I'm playing against the 1600. This guy doesn't know what he's doing. He just lost an exchange in 20 moves, and like anything wins. But actually, this move, rook a6, allows my idea that my opponent completely missed queen d8, and the game is equal all of a sudden. The game is equal. It's so funny because this is literally what the book says. Like, don't ever give up. Always trying to find the trickiest moves to your for your opponent to deal with, because like you never know. Like some people when they are winning, they kind of relax, and when they relax, they allow tricks and they allow people to come back. So this is what happened: queen d8, and now I'm threatening to infiltrate on h4. The knight is beautifully placed here on g4. For example, something like h3 here allows a draw immediately. Queen h4, and now if my opponent takes the knight, which he kind of has to, I have this perpetual check. That is one of the things that I saw in calculation before playing knight g4, and it kind of worked out. Well, here my opponent started panicking because he was like, "Oh my god, what is going on? Like, what am I losing or what?" Like, he thought for such a long time. He was way ahead of the clock before queen d8, but here he spent like 35, 40 minutes. He actually spent almost all his time thinking of a way to defend this position and not allow a perpetual, which was crazy. I was so excited. I was like, oh my god, I just got this FM, dude. Oh my god. Um, but yeah, my opponent played queen c5 now, which now it is not as good because he already allowed um me to get too much activity and counterplay. Here, okay, I find the best move, rook g8, and queen b5, bringing the queen back to the king side to defend. And here, after queen h4 and queen e2, actually the computer says that I'm winning. It's so funny. I mean, I went from completely losing just like 5 moves ago or 4 moves ago to winning. But here there's only one move that wins. It looks kind of obvious. But yeah, it's still yeah, it's tough to calculate everything, but I had to go for it. And unfortunately, I have to tell you guys that I didn't play the correct move, which I considered, but because I couldn't calculate it everything, I got scared and I didn't end up playing it. But the move is screaming to be played is g5, just going all out. And yeah, here I calculated a bunch of stuff, but yeah, I feel like the reason that I didn't go for this was just king h1, which is the best move, and I didn't really know how to follow up from here after, for example, rook takes on f4. I didn't really know what I was doing here or what to do here, and yeah, it just felt like my king was super exposed and I could get mated easily. But bruh, at this point I was already like lost, so it doesn't matter. I'm just playing to for tricks. And yeah, I mean, this looks scary, but yeah, after queen g5, the computer says that this is winning for black, or almost winning, like minus 1.2, which is crazy because I'm down material here. But yeah, the computer just wants f4, just going all out. Yeah, f4, damn bro, f4, just like that. Oh my god, because my opponent can't take here. This loses on the spot, of course. This loses on the spot to knight f2 check. That is brilliant. Uh, rook takes, boom, checkmate. Any of this, and I ended up playing a very sad and scared move, h6, which completely gives the advantage back to white because this is just too slow. Okay, my opponent doubles the rooks on the a file, and this is enough because he's actually threatening to trade off rooks, which just puts my pressure away without a rook on the board for sure. Here it's funny because the computer still wants g5. The computer's like, bro, just go for it, please. But no, I didn't go for it. I went back to f6, and this is just admitting failure because like now I went all the way into his position just to go back into being passive and defensive. Yeah, it's just It's just sad, but it is what it is. I have to learn with this type of games, but okay, I still kept going on. We were both very low on the clock already by move 29. We had, I would say, like 15 minutes, both, maybe 10 minutes, something like that, crazy already. So, yeah, queen f2, offering a queen exchange. Of course, I don't want to trade queens. Queen h5, rook a8, takes, king h7, rook back to a1 here, knight d5. I still thought that I had some chances because, I have a passed pawn here. The knight can be tricky. This pawn is weak. And yeah, I was still hoping for a swindle. Okay, rook e1, queen g6 check, king h1, queen d6, attacking this pawn here. He plays c4, very nice move. Yeah, I thought that knight takes on f4 was gonna be a mistake because of queen g3, but apparently g5 everything is holding on, and I don't have to worry about anything. But yeah, I didn't take on f4 actually. I played knight b4. I thought it was stronger because I'm threatening to come here on d3, and yeah, that would fork these two pieces, and the knight is really well placed on d3 like a monster. Okay, my opponent plays rook g1 here. I go knight d3, and my opponent plays queen e3, which, yeah, I was expecting more queen g3. Feels like it makes more sense to pressure on g7. But okay, my opponent decided to play queen e3, which is a little bit inferior. I played queen b6, attacking b2. He played b3, and here I just took the pawn. I didn't see why I wouldn't take the pawn. Okay, my opponent played queen g3, but yeah, it didn't really make sense. My opponent was definitely also not playing his best chess, because like didn't really make sense what he did right there. I just gave up a pawn for the same position almost. Okay, I go defend g7, and here my opponent plays d5 because he was scared of me. Let's say he does a move like c5, for example. Here, actually, I'm completely winning with e3 check because he has to block. But if he blocks like this, I have knight f2 check. Can't take this because it's pinned. And if he goes here, it's checkmate on b1. So actually got super scared of this diagonal opening, which was one of my tricks here. But apparently after queen g6 check, king h8, he can go rook a1 here. It's not easy to find this, of course, with low time on the clock, because after e3 check, now my opponent has d5, and after knight f2 check, my opponent can bring his king. And before, he couldn't really bring his king there. Let me show you why. So let's say if my opponent went h4, for example, e3 check. I guess my opponent could go king h2 here, but it would still be awkward to meet because of queen b2 check here, and on rook g2 here, I take this pawn. So yeah, there's a lot of tricks here. So I don't fault my opponent for playing d5, but this actually allows a draw. I have a drawn position now, which I didn't see in the game. I played king h8, which is still fine, but the cleanest way to draw this position was queen b2, and this is beautiful geometry because I have to keep an eye on g7, and before I couldn't go to b2 because the pawn was on d4 and I would lose vision of the pawn on g7. But after d5 blocking my queen here, I can go to b2 and defend g7, and now I'm threatening knight f2 check again. And yeah, knight f2 check, the king has to go here, but then I do discover check, and it's gonna be big trouble probably. My opponent has to repeat. Yeah, and here it looks like rook g2 holds things together, but after queen c1 check, rook g1, queen b2 actually just threatening the same perpetual again, and there's nothing my opponent can do about this. He would have to just straight up accept the perpetual. Let's say rook f1 looks like it defends the f2 square, but I can just, play queen d2 and wait. It's funny, I can just wait. Yeah, say queen g2 here. I have e3. Yeah, it's not easy, but damn, bro, what a position. I just have so many resources, it's kind of crazy. But yeah, in the game, I didn't see this beautiful concept in geometry. Um, I played king h8, and after h4, I could still, have chances to draw the game with queen b2 again. Queen b2 is very important, but I played queen b2. But yeah, after rook g2 here by my opponent, I have to find one of the two moves. I played queen f6, which loses on the spot. But here I still had a chance to draw the game with queen a1 check. And okay, if my opponent plays rook g1 here, I can go back to b2 and we repeat the position. But let's say that after rook g2, queen a1 check, king h2 here, I have the beautiful knight e1 attacking the rook here and threatening to go on f3. Let's say my opponent plays rook g1 here, I can give a check, king h3, knight d3 is the best. What is going on? I have no idea. This is crazy. Say rook g2 here, queen d4 bolts. I mean, this is crazy. Yeah, it's really hard to see this in a game, especially when you have, like, at this point we had like 4 minutes. So yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. But yeah, after rook g2 here, I just played queen f6, which loses after d6, because the problem is that I have to keep an eye on g7, and I can't really take this pawn, and this pawn is just rolling down the board. But yeah, if I kept the pressure going, let's say queen d4 here, if my opponent tried d6 with the same idea to distract my queen here, I would have e3 just in time to hold everything together. Because after, let's say, like d7 here, I have knight f2 check. And yeah, this check is very, very annoying for my opponent to deal with. Let's say king h2 here, knight g4 check. King h3, I can actually now play queen takes on d7. I'm doing good because the knight is blocking this. But yeah, crazy, crazy tactics, crazy game. This didn't end up happening. I played queen f6, and after d6, I played knight c5, trying to bring the knight back to defend against d7. Here my opponent played king h2. I played knight d7 here. My opponent played king h3, trying to bring the king closer. Probably felt like it was safer there. I played queen f8. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing, honestly. Queen g6, knight f6, c5 coming, and yeah, disconnected past pawns. Just like, damn, too tough, too rough. e3, I tried to start counterplay with my own passed pawn, but just queen takes on f5. Queen a8, still trying to find tricks here. Going on f3 to give a check. Maybe I can also give a check here on f1. d7 by my opponent. Here actually e2 was a good chance to try to draw, but I gave a check here, and now I'm completely lost because after king h2 there's literally nothing. There's no more checks, and this pawn is queenie next. So I sacrificed my knight, and I took the pawn for the knight, but yeah, this is just not enough. King g1 by my opponent, queen e5, trying to protect g7 and push this pawn, but he can just sacrifice everything on g7 and then push c6. And at this moment, I resigned. What a game. This is gonna be a huge video. I mean, there was so many tactics, so much stuff to calculate. And yeah, I mean, this game is definitely one that I should study like really, really hard, because there's so much stuff that I can learn from this. Like, not only openings, structures, in games, tactics, swindling opportunities, uh, you know, it's just a really good game, honestly, and I'm very proud of the way I played. Um, and I really, really put this FIDE Master under amounts, like large amounts of pressure, which is very, very good. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this huge video, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care. Bye bye.